Good evening, and welcome to Between the Covers. I'm your host, Jeffrey Oreo, and tonight's reading is from the book Glowing Hearts, Book 1 of the Glowing Hearts Warrior Woman series by D.D. Mora. Slipping out another dagger from my cloak, I managed to inflict a few strategic stabs before I realized that they had strategically blocked me between the two of them and a large cypress. They were going to try to tackle me at the same time. Not giving them the chance, I crouched down, building tension in my legs before I sprang straight up, catching a tree branch that had been 15 feet above me. I laughed when I swung around to perch on a branch and saw their astonished expressions. Maybe now they had a clue of who they were dealing with. Oh, their faces were hilarious. But my humor left me when I noticed that Omeron was not having as much success with the first robber who he had engaged as I was having with the other two. Did he need some help? Not wasting any time, my two pursuers discussed how they were going to get me down out of the tree. I silently jumped down behind them, grabbed their heads, and slammed them together, making them bounce off each other with a solid thwack. The disgusting one, who still had a dagger in his leg, fell to the ground unconscious. The third robber was dazed, but still standing. I hiked up my skirts to dig the heel of my boot into the back of his knee. He dropped to his knees, which was the perfect angle for me to kick him in the face, sending him skidding across the forest floor to lay unconscious beside his disgusting accomplice. I went to retrieve my dagger from the disgusting robber's leg, wiping the blood off the blade on his shirt before replacing it in my sheath in my cloak. I looked over at Omeron, slightly confused that he wasn't fighting as well as I thought he should. He and the first robber had lost their daggers and had resorted to fists, but Omeron was receiving more punches than he was giving. I had to remind myself that my experience with men fighting was a little skewed. I was used to fighting royal guards, knights, warriors, all of which Omeron was not, probably being the son of a nobleman. So I guessed he was doing okay for someone without training. But he was going to need some help, and we needed to get out of there. With pierced lip and skirt still hiked, I grabbed my discarded daggers from the third robber that lay on the ground as I ran toward them. Without breaking my stride, I threw one dagger hard, just past Omeron, to hit the first robber in the arm. The force of the dagger pushed the robber back, pinning him to the closest tree. As I grabbed Omeron by the arm to run, I smashed the hilt of the other dagger into the first robber's face, dislodged him from the tree, and knocking him out before he dropped the blade beside him. What I really wanted to do was to slit the throat of the first robber for attacking Omeron. How dare he or anyone attack Omeron? The desire to shed blood was potent, and I was surprised to realize how very protective I suddenly was of him. I wanted to protect him, but didn't want him to think of me as a monster, so I would not kill in front of him. I dragged Omeron with me, making our escape. As much as I would like to have inflicted more pain on the robbers, I had to get Omeron to safety. There was always the possibility of more robbers out there, waiting their turn to attack. Besides, with the blows I had dealt them, those scoundrels wouldn't be waking up anytime soon, giving me time to return to finish them off later. My desire to shed blood today would be quenched, just delayed. Thank you, and salute.